Well, I'll give a little demonstration here of my navigation system that I had installed. So, and it's it's interesting. This is an Axiom, of course, Raymarine, and I'm not familiar with Furano or Lowrance or Garmin or, J whatever. I'm sure a lot of the new systems are very similar, but this is Lighthouse 4, Raymarine Lighthouse 4 software on an Axiom 12-inch screen, and the screen is this is like the latest generation processor that Raymarine offers. I don't know all the specifics, but it's an 8-bit 10 DGP 1080 whatever. Anyway, this is the latest and greatest from Raymarine. All right, it allows you to of course, the software, if I want to add screens, I can configure any way I want. 3 apps, 4 apps, whatever I want to do. And anyway, this is the way that I've configured it. So on my navigation screen, this gives me all the information that I need right now to navigate. The processor's really fast, like zooming in, zooming out. It's like working a home computer. If I want to move around and look at certain things, like this is surge narrows right here. If I want to change my display, right now I'm on head up and the boat's slowly rotating. So if I want, what I'll do is I'll change it over to north up, and then this will orient the display. Shut up. This will orient the display to north up, which is a lot easier to kind of orient yourself. But when you're driving the boat, you don't want to, well, you can put it on anything you want. But anyway, here we are here. This is the desolation area, and there's my boat location. So basically I zoom in, and then if I want to find my boat, there it is right there. So there's where I am right now, and I'm in Owen Bay, for what it's worth. It also gives me my tides and currents. So if I want my tides and current information, there it is there. I can pick my time. There's the current time right now, is right at that line. And if I want to move, ahead, I get my current flows, everything I need. Let's see what else here. Okay, so we'll go over here. This here is the currents for Ocasilo Channel. And then there, if you notice here, it gives me my directions. It gives me my times, what the currents are. Right at 1712, it's 7 knots. Right now we're at 1730, which is right there. Basically, we're at 6 knots. So I get all the information that I want right there. So that's basically how I've configured my navigation chart and how I drive around. The next one is, of course, the radar, and we'll turn the radar on, and then this here is the I'll zoom it in. Down here is my range and my range rings. Each one of these rings is a certain, like that's 1 nautical mile, 2 nautical miles, 4 nautical miles. This is the total range of the screen. So if I want to zoom in, there we are here. I'm zooming in 3/4 of a mile. I'll zoom in even more, say 1/8 of a mile. That's too much. Okay, there we go. Now there's the bay I'm in right now. Okay, now, and this is in heads up mode. I can configure it to relative or true. I don't want to get into that. So basically, there we are here. Now there's these here. I'll zoom it in a little bit. Now I'm on range 3/8 of a mile. I'll go into 1/4 of a mile. I can go in even, this is a digital radar, so I'll go into 1/8 of a mile. Okay, actually I'll go out one more notch. There we are there. Okay. So, you got in touch with CETO? And basically I'll adjust my sensitivity here, and I can dial it, if you see here, I can dial it up or down, and okay, now you see that's too much because be quiet. All right, see here, the radar is dialed up too much. I'm getting interference. See what this is right here? So basically I go into my sensitivity, and I'll dial it down, and what you do is you dial it down. There they are, they're fading away, they're gone. All right, there we are there. So that radar at this range is set perfectly. And what it's picking up, believe it or not, this here, I can even zoom it in. So I'll zoom it in a little bit. We're on 1/4 of a mile here. I'll zoom it in to 1/8 of a mile. That's real close to me. There it is there. You see that? Right there. Now what I'll do is I'll adjust my sensitivity, and I'll dial it up. Okay, that's too much. See here? It's picking up. This is ghost echoes. That's no good. So you dial it down, there, until those ghost echoes go away. And here, right here, there's an object. It'll pick it up. I don't want to move the camera here right now, but that, believe it or not, is a crab pot. And it'll eventually pick it up. It depends on what, it's a crab pot, so I mean, for it to pick it up, it's unbelievable. This is the new digital quantum Doppler radar. I mean, I'm sure. Okay, let's go. We'll dial it back a little bit. See, what I'm doing here is dialing it. Okay, I'll dial it up. Okay, it's a little bit high, but basically that is a crab pot, believe it or not, and it's 429 feet away from me. And there's another crab pot. I'm not going to move the camera because it took me a while to get it balanced, but there's another crab pot right around here. There's another one here. This here, there's another one. So anyway, the purpose of that demonstration is just to show you how sensitive you can dial up these new digital radars. Like it's truly phenomenal. Like I can dial it. Okay, now there I've overloaded the whole screen, right? It's maximum. So if I want to really see what's around me, there. These, believe it or not, this is a crab pot that is 215 feet away from me. And I can acquire that as a target. Believe it or not, and the computer will make it a target and warn me if I get too close to it. So anyway, that's the radar. It's phenomenal. I'm sure other, I'm not saying Raymarine's the greatest, but it's a hell of a radar. And this is the next screen I've got configured. And this is the screen that I use when I come into anchor. And this gives me my depth, gives me a basic position of my chart. But here, what this will do here, I can center the boat. I put the boat in the center. And this here gives me my contours. So as you see, I'm in Owen Bay. This is the mud area right in here. This is deeper water. I have it, don't need to get into it, but I have it configured different colors for deep water. So there you go there. And this is my distance, 500 feet. Now it's 400 feet, 200 feet, 200 feet, 100 feet. So in other words, when I'm coming into anchor and I'm laying out my chain, I know my distances to shore. And of course, if there were other vessels in here, the AIS targets would show up and I can adjust my road accordingly. Here's my depth, and this here gives me a complete overview of the entire, there's the west coast of North America. But I can zoom right in, and I use that as a rough guide when I'm driving into my anchorage. And then this here where I'm going to anchor, of course, my depth. All right, so next one is my contours. Now this chart, this is good for planning anchorages. Now, for example, let's say I want to drive over here. I've never been here before. So there, I want to go there. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in. Now, this tells me my depths and my contours. You see here it's 400 feet, right? Well, this big area is a big flat 400-foot area, but of course I'm not going to anchor there. But anyway, so here I'm getting in closer to the bay. So what this tells me is over here, I don't want to anchor over here because it's a big drop off right to deep water relatively. But right in here, I can anchor in here, and it's a very slow drop off. There's 50 feet, 60 feet, 80 feet. And as I zoom in, so in other words, if I've never been here before, there's a bay. So basically, if I was driving in there and I wanted to anchor, I would basically go to basically there. Boom. Actually, that's probably a good spot. Another thing, so what I can do right there is I'll click on it and I'll basically flag that. I'll place that as a waypoint, and that's now an anchorage. So there you go. So I've just put myself, I'll keep that in mind. If I ever need to go anywhere, I'll have that as an anchorage. So that's that screen. Where are we now? That's the anchor. No, that's the contour. Now this here screen gives me my basic relevant information to plan trips. Here I've got tides for wherever I want. Gives me my tides, my next day, my previous day. This is all the information on this chart, and I can pick tides for wherever I want to go. And I can also, of course, if I zoom in far enough, I can also pick currents for wherever I want to go. Here's a current icon right there, current station. Right now the maximum is 8 knots. There's all my current data. No use trying to explain it, but that's all my current data. Over here it gives me my local time, my depth. This is my vessel supply voltage, of course sunrise time, sunset time. AWS is average wind speed or apparent wind speed, and right now I don't want to move the camera, but it's dead calm. This is my vessel position, and this is Zulu UTC, Greenwich Mean Time or whatever. So this is all my times for figuring out all my currents for wherever I want to go. This screen here gives me my charts with my radar over top of it. So I got it dialed. I dialed the radar up sensitivity. So what I'll do is I'll just select it down. There we go. Okay, basically there we go. We go back to the radar. Now this here is for when I'm driving around, and of course I'm anchored. As you can see, I'm anchored right here, and this is where exactly I am. And I'll zoom it out a little bit, and we'll see the bay. There's the bay. This is the bay right here where I'm anchored. We've already been through the radar. I don't have to go through that again. And then this one here I have configured to give you my radar and chart overlay. So there you see right there. And of course it doesn't show over here because it's a radar. It's, but it's picking up this mountain. But there's a mountain right here, and the radar is picking that up. And then this is the bay. This is a drying mud flat, but this is the actual rocks around the bay. And of course these are the islands out in front. And then that's as far as the radar, of course, can't see over here because it can't see through mountains. But there's my basic. Right there is where I am. These are these islands. This is this island here, how it's showing up on radar. And this is all for navigation. Okay? And this is useful from when you come into an anchorage, because if there were radar targets here, whatever, all around me for anchoring, they show up on my radar. And then, of course, the final one is my Anchor Wizard, which is this program. And basically, it gives me my depths when I'm coming in. And then I come in here, say, and I'm going to anchor, which I already have. Well, what I do is I put down my Anchor Wizard. You'll see here is I've got an area of chart right here. And I've laid out, I tell it what I've laid out, and basically I like to be safe, so I've laid out 150 feet. Basically I'm in 31 feet of water, and I've laid out 150 feet of chain. Well, what this does, it figures out my maximum swing radius and puts it around here, and there's nothing in there that I'm going to hit, right? See there? There's nothing in there. Well, basically, that's because I go back here, and in my chart, you'll see that where I'll get out of north up right now. I'll select it to head up. I don't like north up. Okay. There we are there. And like I say, there's me, and there's my, and you can't see it, probably, but it's very faint. But I have there's also another indicator right around there. So basically with the chain and my anchor and my position that I've let out, no matter what happens, and of course I've anchored properly, pulled back, I'm rock solid. I could sit out a 50-knot wind here and sleep like a baby. Anyway, I can't possibly swing enough to hit anything in my area. So that's basically the avionics system that I installed on the boat, and I'm very happy. This is Navionics Axiom. Turn her off. Bye-bye. It's a beautiful system. I'm loving it.